Nature has given us a lot of things, from exciting views, beautiful mountains, and even exciting waves on the beaches. While talking about beaches, we have sand. And this is what we're going to talk about today. Probably. Actually, we're going to talk about how processors are made, from sand to your gorgeous looking gaming rigs. Everything starts by mining the sand, which is apparently not the sand which is on the beaches, and actually collecting that for processor would be nonsense. It is actually called silica sand. Silica sand is then heated at 1000 degrees Celsius and converted to a cylindrical shaped silicon. This silicon is astonishingly pure. Then the silicon is cut into very thin pieces, which is called wafer, and not that kind of wafer. Wafers aside, let's talk about the architecture of the CPU which engineers make. There are billions of transistors and logic gates on the CPU. For this, the whole engineering team work as a group and decide how the CPU logic gates and transistors will work. Back to the wafers. After slicing, the wafers are put into FOUPS, or front opening unified pods. These are robots which are used to carry and transport wafers all across the fab. Each FOUP contains 25 wafers. After that, individual wafers are covered with material called photoresist, and the way it works is that the wafer will be spinning at very high speeds and the material will be dropped over the wafer while the wafer is spinning, and the whole wafer will be covered by the photoresist. Photoresist is basically going to respond to the light, which we will talk about later, and is later washed away. The washing process takes place after the etching. Now, what is etching, you might ask? Well, etching aside, for this you first need to know what is lithography. Remember that CPU architecture we made? Or the engineers, we're just like a piece of trash. Now is the time that it comes in action. UV light or ultraviolet light is used to draw the patterns and transistors or even the gates on the CPU wafer. This needs the mastery of light. After that, these patterns work as a template. Now, what is etching? Etching is the process of using acids to cut off unwanted parts of the wafer. Now, the unwanted parts are filled with copper. Copper is added to form transistors. This process is repeated several times. The excess copper is then polished away. Well, these wafers are almost done, right? Probably. There are several other processes that this wafer needs to undergo because the wafer or the chip is not ready to conduct electricity. For this, many ions and other materials are bombarded onto the wafer, which makes it electrically conductive. Congratulations! After 2 months, you have finally made your processor. Not homemade, not yet. The one thing left to do is the damn covering. For this, you need to cut off the chip from the wafer and then put it upside down onto the plate. The plate is then secured by a heat spreader. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Keep watching Tech Talks and I will see you in the next one.